Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Pabs, a rising VTuber and an artist. And I have just one question for you. Who is ready to gamble? That's right, we're doing a randomized emoji character design. Last time, we've done this a couple of times actually. I love making character designs, right? I'm not going to go so far as to call it my bread and butter, but it is something that I have invested some time into on this channel. Not sure why my model mouth isn't tracking. That's a little weird. Hang on. Oh yeah. Hello? Hello? Hang on. One moment. You know what? Maybe I just talk with a delay today. Maybe I relaxed. Maybe my mouth flaps don't match. Yeah, this episode of Pabs Art VT has been. Actually, I don't even have VT in my username. But this episode of Pabs Art has actually been dubbed in originally from Spanish. Ahorita estoy hablando purito español y ustedes ni saben porque la producción ha logrado traducirlo en tiempo real. Anyway, let's hit the randomize button and see what we get. I think 3 is a pretty good number. I think that gives us a nice balance. Okay. Okay, we got a pig, the share sign, and no phone. Huh. Or wait, hang on, maybe this is something else. Let me actually fish this thing up on like Emojipedia or something. Oh, okay. So hang on, this is a loop emoji or like a repeat button. Okay, so it's not like a share button, it's like a looping. It's like when you play music and you loop it. I see. Okay. All right. And no phones and pig. I can pretty well understand. Okay, let us grab this, and we can go back to the Clip Studio pane and start a new file so we can cook something. Here we go. Okay, pig, loop, and no phone. It's kind of tough, honestly. I'm not sure. The pig is an interesting kind of wrinkle to the equation because both of these are very technological, right? Or it's an interesting contrast. Like one of them's like no phone, but the other one's also like loop music. Maybe some kind of DJ or maybe some kind of Luddite. You know what? Let's go with that idea. Like, maybe. Okay, so I'm honestly thinking a lot about Pixie from Journey to the West. So hang on, or Badier, or I think he might be called as well. So Badier, Journey to the West. The pig Ouroboros creature that hates technology. Drew Badier is his full name, his government name. Also named Ju Wunung. Hi Ryan, how you doing? Is one of the 3 disciples of Tang Sensong, also along with Sun Wukong and Xiao Wujing. Okay. Huh. You know, he's slimmer than I expected. I feel like I honestly expected him to be a BBM from day one, but like in this illustration, he's actually quite lean. Doing all right? Hey, that's good to hear. Gonna have some fun doing character design today. In many English versions of the story, Ju Badier is called Monk Pig. My guy Monk Pig. Piggy, or Pixie. Huh. He looks like a terrible humanoid monster that's part human and part pig, who often gets himself and his companions into trouble through his laziness, gluttony, and propensity for lusting after pretty women. I will not say he's just like Brother Pig, my guy Brother Pig. He looks up to his senior disciple Sun Wukong as a big brother. Aw, cute. Though he occasionally acts rebelliously when injured by Wukong's constant teasing, his schemes usually end in his own humiliation. His Buddhist name, Zhu Wunong, given by Bodhisattva Guanyin, means pig reincarnated who is aware of ability, or pig who rises to power. A reference to the fact that he values himself so much as to forget his own grisly appearance. Christ. Tan Sun Song gave him the nickname Badia, which means 8 restraints or 8 commandments, to remind him of his Buddhist diet. They are fucking this guy up so badly. Nobody fuck with him. Oh yeah, and here we go. Okay, this is more in line with what I expected. When was this... Hang on, when was this picture... Do we have information about this picture? Do we have, like, information about where it originated from? Used on the following other wikis use this file. Human-animal hybrid? Pause. Wait, what the... Hang on. Oh, here we go, in myth. There we go. Pig-like hybrid being Zhu Badier, pictured in this piece of fan art. Oh, that explains why he's, you know, properly... Oolong being based on this guy feels more accurate than I expected. For real. I'm glad that Oolong fell off in major style. Like, honestly, I never fuck with that guy. Alright, okay. Holy shit. The lantern, though, that's awesome. I love these huge floats having... I don't know, there's something very enchanting about, like, it's almost like it's like 3D stained glass. There's something very cool about the way they're structured. Wait, hang on. Nine-Toothed Rake. He has this phrase depicts the first point in which Badia's legendary Nine-Toothed Rake has been used. The fierce and murderous ogre, Huiyan imposing and able. The iron staff could pulverize the heart. The rake struck at the face. The dust thrown up darkened heaven and earth. The flying sand and stones startled gods and ghouls. The nine-toothed rake gleamed and flashed as its pair of wings resounded. The lone staff was ominously black as it whirled in its owner's hands. One was the heir of a heavenly king, one defended the law on Puerto Rica Island, the other was an evil fiend in a mountain cave. In their battle for mastery, none knew who the winner would be. That's crazy. It is really funny that sometimes legendary weapons are straight up just like a trowel. You know what? You get a trowel. Actually, that might be a cool thing to implement on this. So maybe this is like an anti-technology vigilante or something. That might be an interesting angle for it. Okay. But yeah, I do want to make them very, like, triangular almost. I found that I've gotten better at sketching. I don't know how to put it. Before I used to just draw like the humanoid figure first and then try to fit them and jumble them together in a frame. Now what I've started doing more recently is that I've started making like general shapes, like sometimes squares, occasionally triangles or something, but using those as shorthands to get like a group for the perspective first. It's been really handy. I've enjoyed doing that. Also, what I might do as well is I might rotate all of these like so. And then grab the canvas, change the canvas 90-degree clockwise. There we go. Now we got some real estate to work with. Although we do have to swap around the placement of the references, but that's fine. That's like a minor thing. I will say that having the kind of amateur sinologist thing appended to my brand has actually been kind of a blessing, because now, you know, nobody else would think about Pixie from Journey to the West when they see the pig emoji, I feel. I feel like that's a very distinguishing thing for me to do. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking, right? The snout is like a gas mask. which that is not very original, but that's fine. But yeah, Pixie's supposed to have like a very grisly, monstrous appearance. So I feel like this person being a vigilante should look kind of scary. I do need to be extreme. I do need to take certain pains to avoid accidentally creating Roadhog from Overwatch. It is. It pisses me off. Overwatch pisses me off so badly for a variety of reasons. But for a game that I've never played, Overwatch pisses me off a lot. Because I remember there was this one summer where I attended basically like a cartoonist camp, right? My parents were like, okay, you really like drawing. Why don't you take a summer to go to this cartoonist camp? You know, meet some kids who are like you, meet some people who are also really art, who do art professionally. See if it's for you or not, right? And it was a great experience. I loved it. Was like a very valuable experience for me. But the thing is that at the time I was not super aware of what was like new and hip with the kids. So everybody was like talking about Steven Universe and Overwatch at the time. This was like 2016, 2014, by the way, 2015, like mid 2010s, by the way. And everybody was like talking about Steven Universe and Overwatch and all this junk. And I'm like, what the fuck are you people? Jesse, what the hell are you talking about? It's, I don't know, and because of that, I got like a crash course about Overwatch and its characters from the people that I met there, and it pisses me off so much because I could have gone my whole life without knowing anything about Overwatch, but like I could have been that guy. I could have been like completely untouched, but I was sadly burdened by that knowledge. Okay, and we will have the tusks be these kind of auxiliary filters, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. Or actually, what we could do is make it like a full kind of ski mask kind of thing. So hang on, maybe... like with ski goggles over here. I don't know, there's something about making like a pig-themed character and putting sunglasses on them that just fits really, really well. Like even that one guy from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles whose name escapes me for the time being. Like they got it, they understood. Something about that combination of elements is just very cool. Okay. So yeah, big old pair of headphones. I'm worried that because the snout makes it look more like an elephant than a pig, so let's shorten that a little bit. How does that look even more? Okay, this looks more pig-like. Okay. Let's put it like this. God, it's still so funny to me that Dragon Ball was originally based on Journey to the West. Like it is funny to me because it's so loosely based on it. Like they have a couple of nods into it here and there, right? Like the story where Goku meets Chi-Chi, for example, that is like a direct send up to the Journey to the West. Like there is a mountain that is on fire all the time that the gang has to put out. Although it's much funnier in the Journey to the West version because instead of the fan being with some skeevy old martial arts pervert, the fan is with the Bull Demon King. And the problem is that the Bull Demon King is currently undergoing some relation. Wait. Okay, there's a couple of. It's not with the Bull Demon King. The Bull Demon King has somebody who. Okay, so hang on. Let me gather my thoughts to retell the story from the best of my abilities. So the Bull Demon King has a partner called Princess Ironfan, I believe, and Princess Ironfan has like the magical fan that puts out the fire. However, the Bull Demon King is not the most loyal guy on Earth. So after Sun Wukong and company beat the shit out of the Bull Demon King and you know they clash with like 5 different people on the path to doing this. They fight Princess Ironfan. They fight the Bull Demon King. The Bull Demon King has some magical bullshit artifact that sends Sun Wukong packing. It's very typical of the story. Like 80% of the time, whatever villain of the week is happening in Journey to the West is some dude who has a magical artifact that can stop Sun Wukong from killing them instantly, and you kind of have to do that. But it has happened like at least 17 times by this point. God, if Journey to the West was an actual manga, the power scaling would be fucked. Because like there's like Sun Wukong is supposed to be like one of the strongest on Earth. The Buddha is stronger than Sun Wukong for sure. That was well established. That Sun Wukong is not greater than the Buddha. However, like Sun Wukong, the slander memes about Sun Wukong would be horrific. Like Sun Wukong is extremely slanderable. And I say that as a guy who was like ride or die for that monkey. Sun Wukong would be insanely slandered these days. The victim of slander of proportions untold. Okay, there we go. Okay. You know, it's kind of... I now understand that I don't actually know much about designing superheroes. I have some information about designing like tokusatsu heroes and such, but I don't really know much about like Western heroes. Okay. Like so far I feel like this is correct, but I guess it would be just something like this, right? Pig's ears are... Okay, the pig's ears on the emoji are kind of sticking up. So maybe... Ooh, that's kind of cute. Hang on, the ears kind of sticking up out from under the hood like this. That's kind of cute. Okay, so superhero outfits with hoodies. The bad news is that the only one that I can think of is that one Spider-Man clone guy, but he does not have that shit on in the same way that I'm picturing this. So hang on, hoodie, hood pulled up. What does a cowl actually look like? Okay. Huh. Okay, check this guy out on the Wikipedia page. Oh wait, actually this might be huge. Drawing showing a cowl wearing monk. So it's monk clothing. Huh. Okay. I can work with that. And that way, instead of it being a gas mask. Okay. Big brain idea. Big brain idea. Instead of it being a gas mask, it's a. Wait, this looks a lot like the Doctor from Arknights. Oh well. Okay. But yeah, I'm picturing an anorak now. Okay. Right. Yes. Okay. If you've never seen an anorak before, it is a very specific kind of sweater. So hang on. There you go. This is what an anorak looks like, and I'm trying to find one that has a more solid. Hang on. Supreme anorak. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. So what I'm thinking is we have this almost like a two-piece sweater. So hang on. Yes. Okay. Now I feel the creative juices flowing. And we can almost have the anorak kind of split three ways here. Can we have... Hang on. Okay. We can have the two little dangly things on the side here. And to make the snout, we can have the thing here just go like that. I am on the wrong layer. Okay. Let's separate those. Perfect. Okay. Trying to think about how I can make this look more snout-like. Maybe... Maybe I'm going about this the wrong way. Okay. And yeah, maybe inverted triangles to make a triangular theme to the whole thing. I think that might be a good move. Okay. Okay. Let's shrink this guy down a little bit just so we can have a little bit more room to work. No way. Oops. Okay, let me bring those back to to where they're supposed to be. Wrong layer. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, how can we turn the kind of girded monk's footwear that he's got going on here into like high top sneakers? Do people even use rakes anymore? I feel so that is like the most painfully guy who hasn't lived in a house with a yard sentence that I've ever said in my entire life. I imagine people do still use rakes. Okay, but the real question is, hang on, is there like a high-tech rake? Hang on, web browser. Okay, they're just showing me combine harvesters. Okay, thanks, wise guy. All right. Seafood rake. Okay. Interesting. Okay, snow roof rake. I'm kind of a fan of this one that looks like a fan. I don't know, something about this one is speaking to me. I think it just has like a very well-defined edge. It's also appealing not having to draw so many crisscrossing parts. All things considered. Okay. Let's go with that then. Okay. Let's get rid of this part here. I am also thinking shorts for this. But somehow we can combine those with the... I feel like we can combine these with the monk shoes over here. Oh, this is also kind of an interesting shape for it, though. It almost looks like a... It almost reminds me... Its shape almost reminds me of a flower. Okay, we can lower this a little bit so that the big chunk there is like directly on the knuckles. Perfect. Okay. Can we put the... No, okay. I was gonna ask, can we put the logo directly on the glasses here? But I don't think that's gonna work. Maybe some arrows elsewhere on the body? Actually, that doesn't give me an idea, since we're already making like the snout a triangular shape. Why not kind of try and go full send with it? So make it triangular wherever possible. Okay, well, this might be something. We might be cooking here. Okay. Maybe we should make this just one solid block. Oh yeah. Okay. Wait. That's so much. That's way more fun. Wait. That's such a way more fun shape. Hang on. Oh my god. That's incredible. I love it. I might be a little bit biased. I need to be careful so I don't accidentally build this character like me. Gotta make them a little bit longer. I think that's the best way to avoid the allegations. So maybe okay. Yeah, maybe a little bit narrower. Maybe almost like skewed a little bit so that the perspective kicks in. Something like that. Okay, so maybe we can actually kind of go like this. And that way... Hang on. And that way it's like a nice little stomach pocket. I'm struggling to incorporate the looping thing, though. Like, I was gonna say maybe we can have something, like some kind of headphones on top there, but that's not really showing properly. But maybe we can still do something. I'm trying to think here about what's possible for the looping motif. It's true that I don't need to incorporate it, and already the design's actually pretty solid, but I would feel remiss to not try to incorporate it some way. Okay. So let's start with the shoes. Actually, let's try and work with the shoes first, and then we can figure it out. Yeah, we probably don't need to see this one right now. Okay, so the shoes have a very noticeable gold trim right here. Lovely. And we can have a little something right there. Those shoes are that shoe is humongous. Hold up. I do want it to be nice and chunky though. I do want these shoes to be like solidly chunky. So maybe we can, I don't know. Ooh, wait, hang on. I was thinking about shorts, but actually you know what? Full send on this. What we could do is we could have the sweats tucked into the socks. That seeing people wear this for the first time in my life back in the day was quite a shock, but I do know that that's a thing that people do. So there we go. So yeah, this is some kind of hype beast vigilante who fights against technology. Okay. And then the ring's kind of curling up over here. There we go. Perfect. Actually, maybe we should tighten this part up here a little bit. Yeah, okay. Let's do this. Shrink this down to just a tiny bit. And then stretch out the body just a tiny bit. Okay, I think I know what I need to do. Yes, okay. Let's go. Okay. Okay, here's an idea. Instead of okay, so here's an idea. We're gonna have to clean up this sketch, and we're going to hang on. We're going to clean up the sketch and we're going to color it, but we're going to draw the character in like an action scene or like an not scene, I shouldn't say scene, but like an action pose. Just like a quick doodle. Because I think that's much more entertaining, more interesting as a character demonstration. You know who I am thinking of actually for in terms of like move reference. I'm thinking of that guy Rufus from Street Fighter. And hang on, we also have to add the rake. Hang on, so wait, the rake in question said it had two rings. How does that work precisely? Uh-huh, okay. I'm not really seeing... Oh, okay. So, hang on. Let me pull this up. Is that a real statue? Who's this? Who the fuck is this? Okay. Okay, so this one drawing of Pixie had the rings on either side of the rake, and I think that's a really cool interpretation. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh wait, this is from the Black Myth Wukong team. Okay, I see. The 3D render that we were just looking at, I mean. Okay. I see. What I'm thinking is that somehow we can. Watching Pearl play Dead Rising 3, I am sad that unfortunately she had to drop the game, but I understand it. I got motion sick from Repo one time, and that shit is heartbreaking. I'm not fit for the friend slop mines. But yeah, what I'm thinking is we almost have it like a flanged mace at the back here. And then we need to make this thicker and fatter and shorter. Really, really make it look like it's gonna hurt. Okay, and then yes, okay, and then curving upwards like this. I love the idea of it just being like a single solid lump of metal. Perfect. Okay. And yeah, I think this is the right move. So making it okay, 1, 2. Something like that, but I am wondering how to express the flanges. Because in this one they're sticking out from the front like this. So that is a possibility, but that wouldn't make it very helpful as a gardening tool, is my concern. Wait, hang on, I might be onto something here. Okay, so just kind of curving that upwards. And we can... There we go. Oh, yes, okay. Perfect. Now, the only problem is I don't know how to make 9 of those with the space that I have left, so we're gonna have to count really fast. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're gonna need to make these thinner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're out of space! How does this keep happening? How thin do I need to make the teeth? Okay. 1, 2, 3. There has to be like some math or something I could do to calculate this. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just barely made it. Okay. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna erase the sections in between these. But yeah, no, I've been thinking a lot about like the combo weapons from Dead Rising 3. And while I don't think that this is what that's gonna be, I do want to keep those in the back pocket as an inspiration for something at some point. Okay. Okay, wait, hang on, this works. Yes, 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 okay! It does look a little bit children's beach place set-ish, kind of. But you know what, that's fine. Oh, hang on. Looks like we got some unwanted company here. Unbridled Bullfighter PG. Alright, Bug. Get the fuck out of here. Why do these bots have some good names? I don't... It's honestly a little bit offensive to me. Hi, Jupiter. It is a little bit offensive to me that sometimes the bots have, like, genuinely decent names. Did I tell you guys that I almost got by a USPS phishing text today? I got a drunk flop bot. Damn. Drunk flop bot sounds like Drunk flop bot would be an insane diss in a rap battle, trying to imply your opponent uses AI to write their bars. Flop bots. As far as I'm concerned, all bots are flops, my friend. God, I'm sorry to hear that though. It is a bummer. I feel like they've been getting more frequent lately. I feel like you used to see them maybe once a stream, but like, or maybe like once a month even. But like now you see them like once a stream. It's a little egregious. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I ate one of the teeth. I ate one of the teeth on the rake. Oh no. Wait, no, this is fine. Hang on. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. You know why? Because we have the power of technology on our side. We can just make it so that it was always there. There we go. Okay, and then finally this one here. Perfect. I do think it'll be a nice bit of irony to make the... I don't know, what's like the symbol for no internet connection? Oh yeah, Jupiter, how was your stream, by the way? I know you've been on that demolition grind set, so I do understand. I am looking forward to the results of your labors. Okay. Ah, I see. Text, lots of text. All month has been like this. Eesh. Lot of reading, huh? Well, that's not so bad every once in a while, but all month is a bit much. Is it at least text that's fun to look at? I guess is my question. I chose this fate, and yes. Hey, nice. Yeah, that's the spirit. There we go. But yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with the idea of putting text on clothing. But okay, how do I do the loop thing though? Can I incorporate it somehow into like the design? Okay, you know what I could add to the design? A little bit of a headdress thing. Like, not headdress, but this thing. This thing right here. I guess the word for that is hat, huh? You know, thinking about it rationally, the word for that, the word I'm looking for is hat. Just pictured the Invisible Man, except he's obsessed with clothing logos and other text printed on clothing. You know what? The Invisible Man would have made some crazy moves in the .com era, because he could just like model clothes and just act like it was photoshopped out. Like nowadays you can use image editing software to do that, but you know, back in the day, if you wanted to like show off the clothing, just the clothing, you had a hard time. But now you can just like pose the Invisible Man up on something butt ass naked. You know, you're modeling the anorak. You know, he's kind of posed butt up naked, and it's looking real good. Actually, maybe I could make the glasses almost like it. No, that looks a little strange. Trying to think about this. The Invisible Man has a secret clothing advantage. Doesn't have to worry about clothing accidentally being too thin and showing too much. That's true! I hadn't even thought about it that way. But yeah, you know, the Invisible Man's kind of got it going on when it comes to fashion. You know, a lot of people when people are like, "What monster do you want to be like?" Right? Or what monster do you want to be, if any? You know, they try to think about like their personality and like what would suit them. Like, you know, somebody would be like, "Oh, I'm a vampire because you know I identify with like the cool kind of laid back blood drinking lifestyle," or you know, I want to be a werewolf because I identify with the, you know, being in the woods, running, being free, howling under the moonlight kind of lifestyle. But you know what? Invisible person is like an underrated monster to choose as your main, especially for the fashion scene. Okay, lookify. Bring down the strength, increase the brush size, bring this part down. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to let go of the loop. I think we're gonna have to eliminate the loop from the equation. I'm rewriting history. Adjacent to the what monster conversations, I feel like at this point I'm locked in on what would you want your superpower to be. Oh yeah, what do you got in mind, Chief? Share with me. Play toys with me. Okay. How cool do you have to be for your weapon to have piercings? I feel like these look almost more like piercings than actual decorations, and I think that's awesome. Indicative that I should dream bigger. Power over insects. I think things could be much easier if one could make arrangements with bugs. I think you're honestly underrated pick. I think you might be onto something for real with that. There was a time when I had a roach problem in my apartment, and if I could talk to those little bastards and negotiate a diplomatic solution, I would have done that in a heartbeat. Sadly, that fate was not possible, and they were eradicated to the last. It's low key enough that you can get away with it pretty easily. That's what I'm saying. And you also have a bunch of new friends no matter where you go. Bugs are quite literally everywhere. If you want to talk to a bug, you just need to like lean down, and chances are in some place you will be able to find a bug. Okay, we're going to paint this thing in. But first, let's clean up the sketch a little bit. But yeah, no. For a long time, my default answer has just been teleportation, but I do think a strong second choice of teleportation is not on the table. I do think the power of like Crazy Diamond from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure would be pretty awesome to have. Because the thing is, I would mostly use teleportation just to see my family whenever I wanted. That's basically it. I could get to work on time. I could like go anywhere I wanted, but I would mostly probably just see it to like visit my family on the regular. Not have to worry about that visa shit or anything else. No pest problems because you can get them not to crawl and defecate in opportune places. They can have leftovers and not nibble your previously pristine groceries. It's a good arrangement. You have made a smart investment. Very low key, very productive. Also, I feel like centipedes would just be really down to earth. I don't know. I feel like honestly, I'm very scared of centipedes and millipedes or no. I'm scared of centipedes. I remember seeing some centipedes as a kid growing up and being super scared of them. And that's fair because they have like big pincers and whatnot. You know, they would be frightening to a child. But like, I feel like they have like some bizarre wisdom. I feel, you know, like how in some stories there's like an assassin character who has like surprisingly deep insights into the human condition, or like you know some a character's like dark or evil or whatnot, but like they like get it. I feel like that's what centipedes are. I feel like centipedes have that capability. Also, it would even if you wouldn't be able to get them to stop, I do feel like it would be pretty awesome if you could just tell a mosquito that's like bothering you when you're trying to get to sleep to shut the fuck up. Like I would enjoy the vindictiveness of that. No, this is fine. But yeah. How did you arrive to the conclusion of bug control, by the way? Was there like a specific event that catalyzed it, or were you inspired by something in particular, or was this just something that you just realized one day sitting down and was like, you know what, I should be wanting to be able to speak to the various creatures that crawl on Earth? Okay, nice, nice, nice. Mosquito that can now talk to me through the mosquito net. Wow, you'd leave a woman to starve? Leave her out of her spaces? Some feminist you are. God. That is true. I forgot that lady mosquitoes are the only ones that bite people for blood. Okay. Let's see. I feel like butterflies would not be easy to talk to. Like, for some reason, I feel like they would have like a very high-pitched voice that would be really well done, but like it would also be something that would not be. It'd be difficult to carry out a long-winded conversation with. I don't know. Something just gave me the idea, Ryan. A really well done, high-pitched voice. Many situations, but there's been a lot of wasps or adjacent bugs lately, and I'd like to not be stung in the eye. They've been stinging you in the eye? Damn. Or wait, is the being stung in the eye thing like an active threat? Like, is that like it hasn't happened yet? That's some deep thinking you've got there, right? Eyelid happened to a neighbor. Yeesh, pobrecito. I remember one time an ant bit me in the eye, and oh, that was not a fun day. It went away after a couple of minutes, thankfully. I put some ice on it and it calmed down pretty well, but like, good God. Still, yeah, watch yourself out there. God. Okay, just making sure there's no gaps in here. That's like genuinely worst case scenario though. Getting bitten in the eye is that, I don't know, harm to the eyes. I don't have any, so I'm safe from this particular form of trauma, but like any damage to the eyes or nails is something that gets me super grossed out. I think it's the fragility of them that gets to me. Okay, I'm thinking... Yeah, okay. Primarily, I think my mind is on spiders or ants. One eats all the other, so home bodyguard, and the other has the power of numbers and does eat people food. That is true. Ants do occasionally indulge in crumb and sugar cube, so I feel like they would be one of the easiest to bargain with. Yeah. And for spiders, honestly, you know what, who I bet would be really fun to talk to is a ladybug. I don't know, ladybugs just got a very chill vibe. In terms of intimidating bugs, particularly roaches, maybe I should focus on lizards. It's a little bit of a conundrum. The thing is that lizards are... I don't know, I don't think I've ever seen a lizard hunt, per se. Like, I feel like they just stand very still and then they just, like, slap their tongue at whatever comes by that fancies their palate. They don't strike me as the most proactive of hunters for that matter. I mean, honestly, at that point you might as well just talk to normal animals. Guy whose hobby is making flies introspective hours before they die. God, yeah, just like putting on an audiobook of like a dead English philosopher or some shit for a fly before I put their ass on the glue trap. Okay, where is the gap? How is the gap occurring? Okay, it's not through here. It's, oh my god, there's like a huge hole right there, isn't there? Wrong layer, there we go. Oh, missed the spot. For a second, I almost read that as Fly retrospective. And I'm just thinking of like a guy making a greatest hits album for a Fly before the Fly is set to be executed. God. Now I'm just imagining like a Fly having to go through like reincarnation or something and seeing its top score for each life that it's let out. Doesn't know Jack, born yesterday, will die soon anyways. That's the thing. Oh my god, yeah, that's actually that would be such a problem for like the bug plan, is the fact that your friends would like die almost as soon as you meet them. Like you would have like maybe 3 days at most, depending on the, for most common bugs, I don't think they have like a particularly long lifespan. Like on the bright side, you'd get to meet a lot of new people, but on the bright side, on the dark side, you wouldn't get to know them for very long. A Fly is here on Earth for 3 purposes: to eat, fucking die. In some ways, this is extreme. This is very noble. Okay. Thinking like almost like pitch black for the anorak itself. But then it's gonna be difficult to make out the words. Okay, so maybe bright red was the right choice. You did have plenty going on without it, but the loop emoji did make me think of DJing or music production. Huh. You know what? That might be like this thing's side gig or side hustle. Maybe that's how they make money. They moonlight as a DJ when they're not doing vigilante shit. It's all like vintage stuff too. Like they're basically doing boiler room sets with the same technology that some dude had like in the 80s. God, how was that done? Anyway, like, is that... This guy looks like he can belt out a banger one-liner of, "Hey, buddy, why don't you make like a tree and leave?" Motions with the rig to get the point across. Oh, God. Actually, that might be a more fitting role as a bouncer of sorts. The bouncer. Maybe almost like a hot pink for the... No, that doesn't go well. I don't know, what are like pig colors? What colors do pigs come in? Hang on. Ooh, okay, we got some options here. Hang on. Pink, brown, grayish. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. Hang on. Okay, we got Landrace, Mangalica, Hampshire, Vietnamese Potbelly, Large White, Bietren, Tamworth, Berkshire, Duroc. We've got some options. High levels of intramuscle fat, selected for flavor. Damn. Placid and easily managed, large litters and high milk production. Vietnamese Potbelly is an absolute beast of a thing. You've got that right. Hang on, can we get more? Can we get eyes on the Vietnamese Potbelly? Can we get the Vietnamese Potbelly on the jumbotron? Oh yeah! Now that is a hog. Beast mode on that pig. Oh, they look so cute. Wait, no, hang on. Now see them fabulous. I don't know, there's something so cute about how they're like all scrunched up like that. Yo. I don't know. There's something very charismatic about how its face is like 80% folds. You know what I mean? As a non-pig expert, love a red river hog. Let me get that guy on the jumbotron. Hang on. Red river hog. Ooh, yes. Oh man, with the facial markings too. That's awesome. Not a domestic pig, but his swag. His swag is immense. He's co-opted the floppa style. Me when I'm asking for the vendor's finest hot dog. River dog should be a style of hot dog that you should be able to order. I love it when you call me Big Floppa. Oh my god! Look at that freaking thing! Oh, it's so cute! You know what? Actually, we kind of got something going. We might have something there. I think the Red River Hog might have been the solution to all my problems. Because I was looking for something to balance this all out. A river dog sounds like it's just a chili dog with a sauce, no meat. That sounds a little foul. But you know what? If the heart wants what it wants. Yo, give me that dog all wets, no dries. Okay, so we're gonna add a red here. So we're gonna turn the orange from the pig into like a bright red, but we're going to keep the pure white on this and this to mimic the white patterns on the facial markings. Yes, okay. Yes, okay. But maybe black on the pants. This thing is like Shadow the Hedgehog, but also a pig. Low-key it is giving Shadow the Hedgehog. His influence, his impact. Maybe a different order on the colors here, so maybe white on the outside, but red for the belly. I don't know, I need more pictures of like what this thing looks like. Personally, I think the glasses need to be a different bright color to be a highlight that makes it stand out from the rest of the white. Huh. You know what? I reckon you're onto something there. We'll keep that in the back pocket. For now, let's just leave them a bright white for the color. Okay, I think just solid red for the bottoms is also the way to go. Do I dare go for like the pure white socks? I think that's the way it's gonna have to be, unfortunately. Bright red kicks, here we go. I'm gonna try not to add too much color to it any which way, I think. I think that's gonna be how we achieve maximum potential. And you know what? I am also now realizing that we are missing like a color for the golden bands here. So maybe Hang on. Hang on. Maybe that's gonna be our... no. Something about that doesn't seem right. Okay, that looks good. Can I just make it red also? No. Also, the black on the snout makes it look like a penguin, which isn't what I'm going for. Okay, maybe a no on the yellow there. But definitely, it's definitely missing another color. So okay, let's take sock, right? The problem is that white and black don't have any particular leanings on the color wheel. Red is over here, so maybe, I don't know, maybe a green? No, certainly not. Maybe like a dark purple? Pixie, can I get 4 bands? Get stuck with the bands and forcing me to be a bodyguard. Okay, never mind. God. The idea of any of the Journey to the West characters getting isekai'd and of anybody for it to be Pixie is genuinely hilarious. I don't know, funniest guy to get isekai'd, I think. To the modern world, I mean. Okay. Maybe a metallic color is what we need. Not white, but definitely like a sort of metallic. Hang on. Luminosity. Okay, wait, hang on. So saturation 0. What kind of color mix are we looking at? Okay. So we need this to be a little bit lighter. Not quite white, but definitely like on the lighter side. Okay, now saturation set to 0. Okay, that's a pretty good mix. Okay, so we're gonna add the metal section to here. 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 Yes, okay, I think this is just what we needed, like a secondary color. Let's negotiate with the gloves. But yeah, God. Obviously it would be really funny if like the Mong Sanzang got sent back to the modern world. It'd be like that one anime where was it Zhuge Liang? I think so. Zhuge Liang courtesy named Kong Ming, who got sent to modern day Japan, which was a pretty funny show that I actually never ended up watching. Not for any specific reason. I just forgot. But yeah, I do think that Pixie is possibly the funniest character that could get isekai'd. Like, Wukong would be fucking it up for sure, but like... I don't know, you don't need to see something catastrophic for it to be funny. Like, if you brought Sun Wukong to the modern day, it'd be like Baki, right? It'd be like Yujiro Hanma is now walking the earth. It'd be like Yujiro Hanma is now walking the earth, and also he depending on like where in the story, Wukong got plucked from, he might have like the attitude and personality of Power from Chainsaw Man. No, I think this is okay, but maybe. Yeah, no, white is definitely the way to go for this section. Okay. Maybe I should make the inside of this part white. Yeah, I think that might be the way to, or maybe just make it a solid metal. Hard to say. No, yeah, this seems better. Also, I might just change these to white. I wish that was like an easy way to like at a glance tell how you're doing with the 60-30-10 rule. Because I think we're following it pretty well. So I think we got 60% red, 30% white, and then 10% the metallic color from the shades and the rings. So I think we're honestly on like a good track. Maybe we can just make it a slightly darker shade of red on the inside of the pan. No. No. Or maybe, I think I just like it because it looks like shading. I think that's it. Okay. So let's save this to the art folder. So Pixie Isekai, I guess is what we're calling this. Trying to think of, okay, now I did mention earlier that I'm interested in making a small vignette, I guess would be the term, for Pixie here. Hang on. Let me put these a little closer together. There we go. And let's tuck these all in a folder real quick, just so we don't need to worry about them. You know, come to think of it, Pixie would be the brokest of the four disciples of Sansang, huh? Well, no, 3 disciples. Technically, four disciples. The horse is also technically a guy, but the horse almost never speaks. So I don't know if that should count. Okay. If I Google destroying technology, what's that gonna? Oh wow, these are some crazy good. Hang on, this is really good. Let me share these. Let me share these real quick. Okay, so we got somebody hitting an old computer with what looks to be a blowtorch. The environmental impact of technology, which blessedly appears to be made from like 5 different stock photos at the same time. We have what appears to be stock.adobe. That's AI. Make use of. Okay, this one's really good. Also really good. All right, let's see here. Fucking hell. Okay, this one's also crazy. Why do they have the Jaegers from Pacific Rim overlooking a school? Some place of learning. Okay, what else we got? Okay, hitting a phone with what appears to be a washing brush. Destroy your PC. Smash the computer. Okay, I see. I mean, honestly. Okay, well, there's not a whole lot of inspiration here. There's some, but not a whole lot. Okay. Trying to think of how we can swing this, so to speak. I think the first thing to do is to make a frame. It all starts with a frame. Okay, we'll label this as our working area. Then next up, what do we actually want to show in here? What's like a really good shorthand for something that's high tech but not necessarily, but like also iconic? We used to have big old reel-to-reel computers. What about that? Or I guess a server would also work. It's a shame that a lot of server rooms have been perverted into AI garbage nowadays, because I feel like being inside of a server room would be kind of deeply meditative. Like the hum of the computers, the fact that it's like really kind of cold in there. You know, something about it feels a little bit appealing to me. Yeah, I could have him attack a cell phone tower or something. You know what? That might be it. And it would be fascinating to meet somebody who's like very anti-technology, but specifically about phones. Well, I don't know. Something about it is just very charming to me. Also, let's refine this a little bit. So let's make this into like a more rectangular landscape format. Okay. Okay. Okay, an idea is taking form in my mind. Okay, so kind of leaning over this thing. And one arm on this. One arm on the rake. Which I must remember has like a funny looking shape. Okay. Yeah, over here should be fine. And maybe we can also manipulate the tip here, just so that it's a little bit more threatening as it kind of pokes out. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm very kind of delinquent posed. Here we go. And maybe we can just bring the leg out over here. Why am I with the ellipse select tool? What is wrong with you? Nobody uses that! Well, okay, no, there are some circumstances where the ellipse tool is useful, but the majority of times you will not need to use the ellipse select tool. Because honestly, I could see somebody making a lot of use of the mark. Like, if I had to absolutely stick to one tool that isn't the marquee tool, I might go for the square select tool. You know what? I'm a little blockheaded with it. I could get behind relying purely on the square marquee tool. But the ellipse marquee tool, the thought of having to use that for everything makes me a little bit sick to my stomach. And yeah, we can have some wires poking out of this thing. So yeah, what I'm thinking is that this is one of those server towers, but it is upended a little bit. Okay, not a little bit, a lot. Okay, so maybe one singular server tower. Huh. Okay. Interesting. So it makes a lot of sense that unless you were running like a huge operation, you wouldn't even need a server necessarily. That makes sense because a lot of shit is on the cloud nowadays. But it does look like they would not make for particularly great things to sit on, just broadly speaking. How can I make this work? Maybe I can look up like server frames. So hang on, let me share the screen so y'all can see what I'm working with here. Server frames. Because yeah, this is the image that I was working with originally, but okay, maybe something like this? This could probably work. This is kind of badass, though. I like this one. This one's also kind of cool just for the fact that it's on wheels. But I think this one's the one I'm gonna go with. Technology really is such a pain in the ass, isn't it? I know that's a little bit hypocritical coming from the guy who streams using technology, has an avatar motivated by technology, and relies on technology to do his day job. But the point stands. There we go. That should make it contrast a little better so it's easier to see. And actually what we could do as well is we could bring it up a little bit so that it's on its side and you can see the surface from the side. Hi, Liev, how you doing? We made like a vigilante pigman who attacks technology. How's your night been going? Yeah, cool, right? We themed it after one of the characters in Journey to the West, which has very nervous. I'm packing. Oh, are you taking a trip? Cool. Where to? Or, you know, if you're not taking a trip, why are you packing? Because I'm driving over to Milvita's house. Oh, how lovely! That's nice. Gosh, visiting your friends is always such a treat. So that's so nice. I'm glad y'all are gonna get to hang out. Okay, we're gonna add this here. I love little by little braining together what this thing is gonna look like. It's 2 hours of driving, so I'm sweating. That's an hour longer to what I'm used to. Oof, yeah, that sounds like a long trip. Okay. And we can have, like, puncture marks, actually. Yeah. Is this a Is that the Grim Reaper? Honestly, I do think that would be a really funny idea to make it the Grim Reaper, but for technology. I don't know what that would look like, though. That is a really interesting idea, though. That's a really cool one. You should hang on to that. Okay, so this is gonna go like this. Thought it was a second character design. Oh no, it's the same guy. God, I really love that one video. It's like, is that the Grim Reaper? It's like such a perfect idealized version of like what a panicked voice sounds like to me. I don't know, you are Speed. Thank you. I do appreciate the vote of confidence. Okay, then that's gonna go like over here. There we go. Does this have wheels? I don't think it does. Okay, we're gonna have this kind of with a lot of smoke rising up out of it. Maybe with also like a text or something. I don't know. We can have the logo of the no phone thing over here, though. Okay. You can do fun shapes with the smoke or something. Ooh! Hmm. Let's make one in the shape of a pig's head. We did see some really epic pot-bellied pigs earlier that maybe we can leverage. Hang on. Where is he? There it is. So I'm thinking something like this with the shape of the smoke. The real beast of an animal. All right. Actually, we've pretty much already got it down. La criatura. And yeah, that way we can... Or actually, hang on. Can I increase the size of this? Thank you. Three... Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7... Or no, it'd have to be a bunch of tiny little punctures altogether. 4, 5, 6, 7... 1... You know what? I'll do those another time. I almost wrote pressed. You know what? That's probably not the first time that's happened to someone. So take heart. Okay. The breast skull emoji. God. I'm sorry. I am really cracking up at the thought of that. God, I'm very proud of myself for having a good track record for being able to detect like phishing emails, because at my workplace, I don't know if I've mentioned this before. They have this thing where like it's almost like a trap, really. They have this thing where they send out a simulated phishing email, right? So it's not a real phishing email. They wouldn't do that, right, to their own employees. But it's a simulated phishing email. And if you click on the link, it's never happened to me before, which is why I don't know what happens in detail. But if you click on the link in that simulated phishing email, you are forced to do a security training to make sure that you're actually paying attention to the things that you click on and the links you use. And I have never been caught slipping on those "you're welcome" box scare. Yeah. Oh god, that's such a long time ago. That's really funny that you remember that, actually, because like that was a genuine thing that happened to me. I don't think I've actually told this story to a lot of the newer people. Back when I was first starting my current job, they were doing this thing for Employee Appreciation Day where they were sending out gift boxes to the employees, and they needed me to confirm my email on the thing. And I was like super new to this, and I was like, okay, no way they're sending me a gift box. Not my been working here for less than a week ass, right? So I immediately report the thing as a phishing email. And like 3 hours later, they get back to me and say, yeah, this isn't a phishing email. This is just like a thing we're doing. You can click it. It's okay. I was so suspicious about that whole thing. I was even suspicious when it actually arrived because I wasn't fully certain of it yet. I don't know why I was so paranoid about that specifically. But yeah, fun experience. 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna duplicate that. Use filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Decrease opacity, and now we're gonna get to work. You know, the craziest part is that they didn't do that ever again after that year. So I'm not gonna say that I'm the one who scared them off of the practice, but it would be really funny if I was the one who scared them out of the practice. I think they were fucking with you. They might have been. They might have been fucking with me. I'm not gonna rule out the possibility they might have just been fucking with me for real. It would be uncharacteristic, but not impossible of them to be fucking with me. That is such a funny idea for a hazing ritual. They like psychologically manipulate you to be. They don't do anything bad per se. They just send you a gift box, but they've like psychologically conditioned you to be infinitely suspicious of said gift box. A truly devious scheme, if I do say so myself. Okay. We're going to move this like so, and then we're going to move this like this, and then this like this. But yeah, the reason I bring this up is because earlier today I got a text from a phishing number. I got a phishing text. Technically, if they text you, it's like smishing or something like that, which is a really funny term. But I got one of those, and it was like, we have this is the U.S. Postal Service. We have a package for you. And the thing is that I had a friend who was going to send me a package very very soon, right? And I was like, oh shit, is this real? But then I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't lead to like the official U.S. postage website. So I like looked it up, and sure enough, USPS never contacts you through text. Never relax ever. This phishing shit is getting super advanced too. I talked to her, and she hadn't even sent it out by the time I got that actual text. Like, I got home and I saw a text from her that was like, yeah, I just sent it out. I'm like, whoa. They were pre-ordering a scam. War has changed. Also, I'm going to change the position of the arm to be like slung over like this instead of under the thing. I'm also going to make it a little bit longer. Maybe that's too long. Gonna make it a little shorter. There we go. Ideal length. Okay, then over here. Perfect. All right. This is going well. I'm having fun. I don't know. I kind of miss doing character. Whenever I do a character design stream, I'm always like, oh man, have I been doing too many character design streams? And then I'm on the stream and I'm having so much fun that I do not care. Content balance be damned. I'm playing toys. The problem is that it's also not healthy as an artist to just like have one thing that you do all the time. Granted, there's no right or wrong way to do it, but I feel like I stagnate when I do too much of the same thing at once. We should do another character design stream with Raph or someone. True! That would be a lot of fun, actually. Actually, you know what? Who we should hit up, in addition to Raph? Pearl. You know what? We should just do the whole Kamen Rider PMP gang 4-way stream design. I don't know how that would work visually, though, because I feel like... I don't know if Discord allows for multiple screens to be popped out. It worked for us because we were just sharing the screen. I don't know how it's gonna... I don't know how to do, like, multiple people like that. We could just do it on a cycle, like switching every 5 minutes or so. That could work, honestly. Okay, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Try again. We should also design a character that's all part of a unified group instead of random prompts. That'd be neat. That would be kind of cool. Take our ass to build a Sentai. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We need one more tooth. Me when I'm at the Tooth Fairy factory and I'm short of a quota. Okay, and then over here. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, perfect, but we do need to spread these out a little bit. Shorten this a little bit. The 9 teeth on this rake have been fucking torturing me since I first learned about them. Yeah, having to deal with all these teeth really bites. Okay, okay, almost side by side. We're like super close together now. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. There we go. 9 teeth. Phew. It ain't easy. Perfect. Okay, then over here. All right. Now we got it. Oh my god, that took so much effort. Okay. That's not a perfect circle, though. Hang on. Can I join these to make a single line? Where's the connect line? What kind of fucked up... Okay, there we go. We've made like a particularly fucked up line, but that's fine. We can handle this. We can let it rock. It's only a little obvious that it's not a perfect circle. You know how like there's this joke that like when some people get high, they like some people joke about like trying to scare them while they're high so that they get scared when they're high. I feel like that's for me, but that for me exists, but it's for like circles. I feel like now, like I'll like whenever I make a circle or whenever I draw a circle freehand, it's like everybody knows you did that shit freehand. Everybody knows it's not a perfect circle. I don't know what this says about my psychological profile. Hopefully nothing too loud. Oh, wait, actually it would be like this, right? And we round this out a little bit there, like just like that. There we go. God, I cannot wait for tomorrow. First of all, it's Friday, and that means that it's the weekend, and also it means that I get to play with V tomorrow. And the other thing is that I'm extremely looking forward to the justification for like eating an entire pizza by myself. Because I'm getting my vaccines tomorrow. I'm getting the Arnold Palmer COVID flu shot, right? And one of my friends said that a good tip that they heard from the nurse who administered her vaccine was that you should carb up afterwards. And so now my plan is to demolish an entire pizza. Maybe not an entire pizza, as much as I can reasonably eat without feeling like I'm going to hurt myself eating, right? That's the thing. I can't demolish food the way I used to. I've grown weak. My stomach capacity has decreased with age. Like I know some folks who put away a huge amount of food well into their 40s, but like that's not going to be me. You caught the old. I caught the old. You know what? I can deal with that though. You know, if I have to deal with a low appetite instead of like an achy back or anything as like one of the first signs that I'm getting old, I'm okay with that. You know what? Maybe a little bit of temperance is what I needed in my life. I don't even think that it's that I necessarily caught the old. Remember back a little while back when I had like a stomach bug and I wasn't able to keep anything down other than like saltine crackers and Gatorade? I think that was like, you know how like some people do like intermittent fasting and shit? I think that was like a hard reset for my body. I think like that genuinely like made my body realize, wait a minute, we're not eating all the time. This is fine. Why do we eat all the time? That's a very inefficient use of resources. I think something inside me broke. I don't know. Normally you should be happy that you're not spending as much money on food or you don't need as much food to survive, but I don't know. For me, it's like a very disturbing bodily experience. I'm supposed to be able to put away Shaggy and Scooby-Doo-esque amounts of food. Like that, I felt like that was part of my identity. So the fact that I can no longer do that is somewhat distressing. Okay, there we go. Now you get to enjoy eating half of something and getting the rest to take home. You know what? That is a strong silver lining. Like I said, among the symptoms of getting old, if I only ever have to deal with like losing appetite, I'll be more than grateful. That is true. Like, I did make a big stink of like no longer being able to finish like a pancake order at a diner the other day, but I also got to take those pancakes home with me, which is something that has never happened to me before. So you know, you take the good with the bad. A little treat for later. It's a surprise tool that'll help us in the future. Yes, Pixie, we see the fit. God, since Pixie is like supposed to be like the human id, and well, no, the id is supposed to be okay. Was Monkey King supposed to be the id? I know that there is a whole thing that in Journey to the West, each of the characters is supposed to represent like a different part of the human condition. You know, with the Mong Sansang being like the super good super ego, but was Monkey King the ego or was he the id? I forgot. I don't think you could even like necessarily classify them in that way, since that is very much a Western principle, and this is supposed to be like a Buddhist text. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Got it. It is also really funny because at the end of Journey to the West, it's a whole thing that the Buddha basically like grants everybody a slice of escaping nirvana pie, basically, except for Pixie, who loves the material world too much to be able to escape samsara. So instead, the Buddha gives him the responsibility to be the one to like eat all of the offerings that are left out for the Buddha, and Pixie is fucking thrilled at this. Pixie is convinced like he has the greatest jobs in the heavens. Despite it all, Pixie is well and truly a real one. Also, I do think that I made this sock too long. Let's pare that down a little bit. Here's what let's do. We'll extend the size of this, put it down here, move this one so it's over here. Perfect. There we go. You know what I should do? at some point this month is I should get back into doing studies. I feel like I feel like I need to keep that edge honed. Okay, this is not working. What am I doing wrong? Did I make the shoot too big? Yeah, I definitely made the shoe too big. Okay. So there's one. And maybe then we can make the... Hang on. Do you guys know that one trick that's like, if you don't know where to put the elbow, take the hand, take the shoulder, and then the intersection of that is where the elbow should go? Honestly, hang on, wait. Speaking of which, I might have made this arm too big. I wonder if that trick also works for the hip and the foot, so that you can intersect the knee. I don't feel like people have as many problems with the knees, though. And actually, wait, hang on. Oh, that's the key that I was missing. Okay, hang on. Perfect. Actually, we should move all of this up a little bit. Like, not just the knee, but also, like, the arm of the hand. How's that? Okay, we might need to move this knee a little bit and put it a little bit more like this. Alright, and then down here. And I might put this arm down just a little bit further. I might just not curl the fingers. I might just, hang on. God, this is kind of a mess. Let's go. Okay. Need to remember that these aren't fingerless gloves. Okay. Fabulous. Okay, so this is gonna kind of come up like this. Nice. Okay. Okay. Something about the shoe doesn't look right. Hang on. Actually, have we flipped the canvas at all since we started? Hang on. Lacking a little bit of oomph in the back here. Let's... do that. Okay, this needs to be a little bit more to the left. Or, wait, no, it would be to the left since we're mirrored. Hang on. Okay. Perfect. Now, the rest of this thing is the problem. Shoes from certain angles are very tricky to get right. I have some achievements in that field, but I don't know I don't know all the secrets myself. I do think I just need to bring this down a little bit. Okay, that seems to be working pretty good. Okay. God, the vector lines on this are gonna be completely fucked. I did get to clean my PC out this weekend. We just had the Canadian Thanksgiving last week, or rather this week, right? I got Monday off from work, so I took the opportunity to do a little bit of housework and clean out my computer. And let me tell you, being able to use 99% isopropyl alcohol to clean the parts of your computer is a game changer. I got so much junk out of the fans that it was amazing. Very satisfying little clean. I don't know. There's something about like irregular maintenance that you have to do that makes it feel much more mindful than like doing the dishes or something. Like if it's something that I had to do every other day, I don't think I would be able to enjoy it as much. But because I only have to do this like maybe once or twice a year, right? My computer doesn't get very dirty, I don't think, or maybe it doesn't. I just don't pay attention. But because it's a irregular maintenance, I feel like I get to enjoy it a little more. It's like taking a different path home from work, or like walking on a route that you're not familiar with. It can be a little bit fun and exciting. It's novel. It's a novel experience. I think that's the right word. Okay. I just want that line to be a little bit more solid, but the problem is that because of how vector lines work and how felt lines and how this brush works, it's very difficult to get that thickness without doubling up the line, which can fuck with the vector properties. But we muddle through. Okay. Then over here. Nice. I wish there was a more straightforward way to merge vector lines, but you know what? Maybe that's me asking too much from an already fairly advanced capability. At least it feels advanced. I don't know too much about like the technical specifications of certain features. I feel like I take some stuff for granted, but don't appreciate how sophisticated some other stuff is. But I guess that's always been the case, right? Like something that you think would take a lot of effort to create and mold is actually like a 3-step process, but then other things that you're like, okay, surely this can't be that hard to make. It's like 50,000 things you need to keep track of, and it needs to be like in a very specific temperature controlled room, and the only reason we get to have it regularly is because of mass production. It's crazy out here. I guess it's true that mass production has taken care of a lot of different things that we just take for granted nowadays. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, though. I think the fact that we can take it for granted means that society has improved somewhat. You know, like beehives or, you know, bee farming, apiaries. Apiaries were like a huge step in the development of civilization because honey is very, very useful. And the wax you can get from bees is also very useful. So I don't think we appreciate those things enough. Shout outs to those funky little white boxes that can house millions of bees at a time. Beekeeping feels like such a good hobby in theory. Because like in theory you get to like work with these living things. It's fairly low maintenance. You just need to mainly watch out for the queen and like make sure that the hive has everything you need, and you have like decent access to a field of flowers. There's some planning involved, but it's not like a huge thing. But then like you have to it's like the whole thing of like working with insects, which again, Jupiter's power would be really handy in this circumstance. Wait, which way am I facing? Ah, ahora entiendo. Okay. Yeah, no, we just bring this down over here. Hashtag bug life. They call me Disney Pixar the way my The way I got this bug life. Now I'm thinking of the phrase "fuck my stupid baka bug life," and it's really tickling me. Bro, they broke into my little burrow and they took my sticks and shit. Can't have anything in this anthill. I'd like to imagine that you've been locked into bug talk the entire time I've been away to eat. Just really rotating and digesting that concept, huh? Pondering the philosophical implications of the bug speaking lifestyle. You'd probably hear a lot of screaming all the time, though. I think that's true of most animal stuff, is that you would hear a lot of more screaming in your day-to-day life. I want to imagine that rhinoceros beetles talk like samurai. That or imagine if you could bug translate Common Rider to a beetle. That would be awesome. Like you've got a little beetle all popped up right next to you. Like, you see that? That's Common Rider, and he's gonna save the city. And like the beetle's like, whoa, he's just like me for real. I think you could very conceivably make any group of bugs, like actual insects, into Marxists just by showing them Disney Pixar's A Bug Life and translating it live for them. A romance with a really shaggy, apathetic dude, and the romantic lead finally gets through his walls, and it turns out he's really traumatizing by being minutely aware of bug death. God. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, and 9. Now I'm also imagining some dude using like, okay, so hear me out. You get your bug powers and you're able to talk to insects now. And you try to monetize this by turning their life stories into works of fiction. That in no way should not resemble real life that should not resemble people living or fictional in any way, and is purely coincidental if they do. Right? And they somehow become, unbeknownst to themselves, like a huge alpha beta omega universe writer, because they keep bringing up pheromones, because like that's how bugs communicate a lot of the time. And so whenever like so their pheromones started to interact. Their pheromones were in the air, and the people reading it are like, wow, this dude's prose is really good, but he kind of freaky with it with the pheromone shit. And it turns out that it's just like bug life. My friend Chris the cicada, he passed away 6 months ago. Wall slam. I told him there's more to life than sex. God. Cicadas are just that video of a guy running in the tunnel yelling sex all the time. Except they're on the tree. It's not a particularly complicated life, but in some ways it is noble. Okay, expand this like this. Put this back here. Perfect. Cicada Chris is kind of like a sick name for a person to have. Like, if I was at a friend group and I was just, like, meeting new people and I learned that there was some dude at the function named Cicada Chris, I will want that motherfucker on my list of viziers immediately. Like, first draft pick is Cicada Chris on my team. I don't care if he eats cicadas. I don't care if he, like, breeds cicadas. I don't care if he's just really into entomology. I know I can fuck with a guy named Cicada Chris. There's this phrase that I read on a tweet once about somebody talking about King of Fighters, and for whatever reason it stuck with me really hard, and it went something like, beware of the man in ranked who is called Orochi Chris. And it's like, damn, that's a cold ass name. I think Cicada Eater would be interesting. My bug truffles, which I root out of the ground like a hog. Well, you know, there's worse hobbies to have. It gets you outside, if nothing else. You know, anything to get out of the house. I don't know. I feel like cicadas would be like the Wagyu of bug protein. I don't know what about them gives me that impression, but I feel like they would just be very well marbled. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that they do burrow in the earth. Maybe that does have like a genuine factor to it. Some kind of psychological implication that I wasn't aware of. Also, I've been rotating these the wrong way. Like, right? Like, you look at us as a kid and you tell me that shit doesn't look like it would be a little bit marbled with fat. Maybe I'm talking crazy, though. I would like to try bug protein, if only out of curiosity. I don't know, I feel like it'd be a good experience. Hang on, maybe I can dig up that tweet since I remember the keyword Orochi Chris. Okay, Orochi Chris appears to be like an actual dude's from... Oh, wait, no. Okay, King of Fighter... Okay, so Chris is a King of Fighter character, and... the Orochi version is like an install or some shit. Okay, we're not gonna be able to find this guy. Maybe if I type in Beware Orochi Chris. With a very quick search, I'm seeing that caterpillars and termites have some of the highest fat content. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Wait, no. Caterpillars make sense. I would believe that... whatchamacallit, that I can believe that caterpillars have some fat content to them. How... okay, termites. How does that work? That's a little bit of puzzling to me, personally. Because, like, you look at a caterpillar, and I would also tell you straight up that thing, you could smoke that little thing like a brisket, right? I believe that caterpillars have a high fat content. They eat a lot of carbs. Huh. You know, I never thought of wood as carbs, but you're right though. You are correct that if I don't know what well, I guess wood does have a lot of fiber, but it is also carb, isn't it? Hang on. Is wood carbs? Smoke them like a brisket, that's right. Okay. Does wood have calories, but caloric value is significantly different from that of food sources typically consumed by humans? Hold nutritional value. We can't break down the cellulose. Cellulose. Hang on. That might be it, actually. Since cellulose... Okay, cellulose sounds like it's made out of sugar. Ose is like the sugar word. Can I eat tree? Can I smoke tree and carve it into ham? I remember there is some kinds of wood that you can eat. I remember this because I read it in the Hunger Games, which shouldn't be a benchmark for reality, but there is like soft tree bark that you can eat. Hang on, edible tree. Edible tree wood. Inner bark. Okay, so it's not the wood itself, but it is the inner bark. Watch this. 5 trees with edible bark. Hang on.
Bark of trees. This is one of the only food sources you can get in the winter from plant material. It's one of the only substantial food sources you can get in the winter from plant material.
Okay.
I test all these out myself, and
11 minutes. We don't buddy, I'm sorry, we do not have that kind of time.
right here, you can see I peeled this part back. This is the inner bark, and it's pretty thick. You'd imagine if you debark this whole branch, you could actually have a lot of this material. It's soft and spongy.
Soft and spongy, okay.
Chew it.
Can just chew it, okay.
It's like bubble gum, actually.
What?
It's very fibrous.
Very fibrous, okay, that would make sense.
It has a strong flavor, but it's not unbearable, and you get used to it.
Not unbearable, and you get used to it. All right, bro. All right. I've heard enough. It does look kind of smoked meat with bark is the thing. I think we might have cracked the code on this one. That might be where it comes from. I have seen the dude who makes tree ice cream, though. That is a guy that I respect greatly. I don't know, just being able to turn an entire plant into your food makes you kind of a hero in my eyes. I think you can eat banana tree, but that's not a true tree. Might be mixing up my fruit. No, that makes sense too, though, because like you can use banana leaves as materials for a lot of things. I don't know. It makes sense to me that you could eat a banana tree, though. I know I do know that Muay Thai practitioners use banana trees for practicing strikes. So I don't imagine that they're too tough. Maybe they are. I don't know. I've never done Muay Thai or punched a tree before. Or no, I have punched a tree before, but it did not result in the tree being significantly damaged. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the dude who makes selling those to the vegans. Honestly, okay, I would try the wood bark. I would at least try the inner bark. I don't think I would become a fan of it by any means, but I do think I would at least try it. Two, three, four, one. Okay, no, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 8 and 9. But yeah, would not expect. The termites are a surprise, but yeah, cellulose. Okay, so what is made out of cellulose? Cellulose should be a sugar. Organic compound with a formula. Okay, yada yada. A polysaccharide. That's a sugar. Okay. So now I'm starting to get it. The termites eat the wood gets broken down into sugars, and the sugars get converted into fat. Now I understand. So, wait, trees are carbs then? Like, technically they're carbs that you can't digest, but they're carbs all the same. I feel like I've understood something that's really, really wrong. Like, the information should be correct, but I feel like I wasn't supposed to know all that. I feel like this knowledge should have been limited to the termites. I wasn't supposed to be knowing that wood's nutritional value. Okay, there we go. I was gonna say, imagine if you could eat wood. Okay, so what wood would you eat if it wasn't poisonous to you? Because I was thinking of that, like, of those, like, super colorful trees that I think have some toxicity to them. But then, that's just like asking would you want to be able to eat trees, since, again, humans cannot digest cellulose. In fact, I would argue that most living creatures shouldn't be able to digest cellulose. It's only through some kind of quirk of fate that they're able to do so. I don't know. In terms of superpower, being able to eat anything without ill effects does sound like a pretty sweet deal on paper. This happened to my buddy Bom Bom Terrer. And, well, he sure did use those capabilities for good and for evil. Well, he tried to use them for good. I think he mostly used them for actions that I think you could technically quantify as evil, but I don't think he understood they were evil. Wonder what the cinnamon tree is like past the bark. Ooh. I like where your mind is at, quite honestly. I think that would be a very compelling flavor. Actually, how would okay, so vanilla beans, right? Do those have an actual flavor? Could I put them into like a kind of peas pulao kind of situation with some rice? They would be toxic, right? I don't think you can just straight up eat the beans of the vanilla plant. Despite all evidence that you should be able to do so. Okay, what do servers actually look like, by the way? I didn't pay too close of an attention. It looks like they just have some kind of... Okay, I can work with that. Okay. Okay. I think the first place to start is just adding this little class to the middle of them. At least I think it's some manner of class. But I'm not sure what it actually is. Some kind of buckle of sorts. Hmm. There we go. I'm sure I could convince somebody that I know how servers work. I've bullshitted my way through worse. Okay, and then there's going to be another clasp up here. We can have that one on the ground here, as well as maybe some other detritus here and there. Let's put this in a place that makes my hand position more comfortable. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna let it rock and let this thing let them interrupt each other. I think it'd be spectacular. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. We can start filling in the art now, and I mean, hang on. I've got an idea. Okay. Here's the plan. We're gonna try and tackle this as efficiently as possible. I'm not sure how we're gonna make that happen, but step one is we're going to... Oh. Okay. Never mind. New step one. I'm going to use that brush tool that fill tool that I've come to really enjoy. And we're gonna just erase that. Erase that. I think that should be good. Okay, now we're going to start filling in whatever. There we go. I forgot the friggin' rings on the spatula. On the rake. Guy who forgets the word for rake. Hey, do any of you guys have those leaf spatulas? Fucking embarrassing. What am I? Leaf spatula sounds like... I don't know, leaves... I feel like if I saw a listing online for a leaf spatula, I would at least click it out of curiosity. Like, that sounds like a compelling kind of apparatus. Cooking some pancakes in some really wild places. God. Not my proudest moment, but there was a time that I had to use some leaves to blow my nose when I was in track and field. I was not cut out for that fucking sport. I don't know why I stuck with it at all. It would be a novelty autumnal silicone tool. You could find some marks for that for sure. Like I have no doubt that if you were trying to like market to somebody who's super into like the hashtag autumn aesthetic, you would be able to find some mark that's willing to pay pumpkin over fist for a novelty spatula that looks like a leaf. Hell, you could probably get some anime weaves on it too if you say it's like Ghibli inspired. I think the reason that I'm really not cut out to be an entrepreneur is because every single time that I think of an opportunity to make money, I immediately frame it as a sort of marks and cons kind of situation. I'm thinking that's probably not the most ideal approach to starting a business. Okay. I just need to make this guy fully Reddit first. The shoes too. Here we go. Nice, okay. Honestly, I do think that I cannot ever live in a house that has like a yard or any kind of appreciable space for tools and for like working, because I do think that I would be like instantly seduced, like 3 seconds instant loss type of shit with a Home Depot. I do feel like it is a siren song, and I would be very easily led to crashing into its turbulent waters. That's the thing that I've noticed about myself, is that I cannot be trusted with like significant quantities of storage space. I need to force myself to travel light, otherwise I'll just end up hoarding stuff forever. And while that can be useful in some circumstances, it's not an ideal way to live your life, because I feel like the difference between a collection and a hoard is that a collection is like carefully curated. So like it's good to collect things. It's good to collect things that are meaningful to you. It's not good to hoard them. Especially if you like get them with the intention of curating them. That's just like torturing yourself. Like I have a huge folder of pictures that I just download. Whenever I like a picture, right? If I like a picture and there's nothing saying that I can't download it, right? I just save it onto my hard drive because I love having access to those. I love like going back and looking at them and being like, oh yeah, I remember this one. This one was like from this time period. It's a lot of fun. Or I'll screenshot a tweet or a funny post that I read or something. And like it's great because again, I get to go back from time to time and be like, oh yeah, it's this one. I like this one. But then it's also like, oh, right. I need to, if I don't categorize these, I'll never be able to like reach the end of my backlog. And you don't need to have to reach the end of your backlog necessarily, but again, it feels bad to not even try to abate the impulse to hoard things. It's a very strange situation. Also, I realize now that I've inverted the triangles on the gloves, but that's fine. Okay. Okay, what color is... Okay, I need to make the... I need to grab the... What's the best way to do this? Okay, so I'm going to grab the darker colors on the top of the bottom. No, no. It'd be better to... Hang on. Just like a kind of purplish dark color. Yeah, I think that works. I was trying to figure out if I could use the color gamma tool for this, but I realize now that that would not be advisable. Okay. Then this one here. Okay. I gotta wrap this up soon. I'm a little bit over time from when I normally stream. It's not a bad thing, but I try to avoid doing that just because it does mess with my sleep schedule a little bit. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking in terms of shading. I wanted to do a gradient shade on this guy. So kind of using this darker color. Like that. And then we could just be a little bit more normal with the rest of it. Okay. We'd grab these two as well. And there we go. Actually, we can probably get rid of this one too. Grab this part here. Shade my belly. No, that doesn't seem right. Okay, that's a little better. And what we could do up here as well is we could make this a slightly brighter version of the red. And that way... we could differentiate it from the rest of the torso. Bop, bop, bop. There we go. Okay, so grab this darker blue. First things first, let's use a gradient again. I'm liking how that's turning out, but then we also use solid shading over here. Yes, okay. We can do a similar shading for even... Hang on. Gotta change the brush size up a little bit. For this part here. Oh my god, I just realized that I'm shading on the friggin... I'm shading on the layer that's for the color. This is such a bad idea. Uh-oh. Oh well. Too late for regrets. Okay, then back here. I think we could use a little bit of thickening on the lines right here to help distinguish them a little bit more from the rest of the tracksuit. It is a little less threatening once you realize that this is basically just like a giant plastic Swiffer. Or I guess it is metallic, actually. It would have to be. Okay. Nice. And then we can use that same shading for the sunglasses here. Okay, lovely. And anything else that we need to do? We should probably add something to the actual server, shouldn't we? Yeah, we can swing that. Actually, what we could do as well is we could just add a little bit of shading here to make it more obvious that this is like a mace head. Okay. The good news is that the server box is actually very angular, so it'll be easier to... Not easy, but easier to figure out how to shade it. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to just add a solid line of shadow right there. So that it's actually this top part is actually casting something. We can also add a little bit of something here for the foot. Actually, let's just expand the shadows a little bit. More generally. We could also just add a couple more little bits here and there. But should I? Yeah, no, that doesn't gel too well, I don't think. We can keep trying with some things here and there though. Like, for example, adding these to the mix. Yeah, actually, hang on. This could work pretty well. Okay. Okay, what I'm thinking is actually that now we need to actually lighten the colors on the server. So hang on, select, color gamut, this one here. Or, you know, it sounds like this where I regret not actually separating the shading and the coloring layers. I was very gung-ho about it earlier, but now I'm having second thoughts. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Brightness and contrast. Increase the brightness, but maintain... Or actually, no. Increase the brightness seems to be working pretty good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can work with this. Let's just go with that. And we can use true black for the holes in the thing, just so that they stand out a little bit more. Okay. I see I missed a couple spots here and there, but that's fine. Learning opportunity. Fabulous. Okay. A little less saturation than that, and we have our little click bits. How the hell did this one happen? You know what? I don't care. It's basically not my problem. Okay, and I think on the whole we could try to do that whole brightness and contrast thing on the... Okay, and then increase the saturation. No, not increase saturation. So maybe decrease saturation but increase contrast? Is that how that works? No. Honestly, this is fine. I should also remember that I wanted to add writing on the jacket. Then clip onto this. Okay, remove this part here. Okay. Be careful when spacing the letters, otherwise they're going to end up squashed. Okay, this one goes here, this one goes here. Fabulous. Okay. And we've done it. Okay, that's the character design finished and also the small sketch finished. I'd say that's a job well done. Definitely pushed it a little bit with the time, though. It is getting late. Is anybody streaming today? Yay, yippee! I think I'm gonna end things here instead. Alright, everybody, take care. I'll be on V's channel tomorrow evening, and I will be on Jay's channel sometime on Saturday afternoon. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. I hope you have a great weekend. Happy Friday, and take care. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.